This is a self-assessment test to identify what grammar you need to learn for IELTS. It will also help you to identify knowledge gaps and what aspects of grammar you need to brush up on before taking IELTS. This is particularly good for those who are aiming at band 6 and band 7. But even if you are aiming at a higher band, this is a good way to start your IELTS preparation. This is an extended version of the self-assessment test, meaning that after each question you will hear not only the correct answer but also the explanation of the grammar aspect tested. If you want to speed up the test and you don't want to hear the explanation, please check the description box below and you will find a link to a shorter self-assessment test without explanation of each answer but just the question and the answer. In this video, we will cover the first 25 questions of the test. Overall, there will be 50 questions in this self-assessment test. So here we will cover only questions from 1 to number 25. So without any further ado, let's get the ball rolling. Question number 1. My parents own a restaurant. I there since I was 15. The correct answer is my parents own a restaurant. I have worked there since I was 15. We use present perfect because we are referring to a present situation which started in the past and still continues up to the present moment. In such situations, we frequently use the words for and since. For example, I can say, I've published 2 books since 2020, or I can say, I have worked really hard for the past 2 weeks. Question number 2. Most students, much money. And the correct answer is most students don't have much money. Here we are talking about generally accepted truths. You can also use present simple if you talk about facts. And usually we have in these cases such words as generally, traditionally, normally, as a rule. For example, I can say, as a rule, many students study late at night before the exam. Question number 3. The graph shows that the number of users at the moment. And the correct answer is the number of users is increasing at the moment. We use the present continuous to talk about changing situations or trends at the moment of speaking. For example, I can also say the price of petrol is increasing these days. However, if I had the price of petrol increases every year, or the price of petrol increases every month by 5%, I would use present simple because then I would describe not a change in situation but a regular situation. For example, with the present continuous, I can also say considering increasing unemployment or due to increasing unemployment, the crime rate is rocketing these days. Question number 4. They cell phones when my mother was a student. And the correct answer is they didn't have cell phones when my mother was a student. We use the past simple tense here to talk about a long-term situation which is no longer true. For example, I can also say he worked in the police force for 15 years. It means that he is no longer in the police force. He is retired. Pay attention that this is very different from the situation in which the person is still doing that. For example, if I say he worked in the police force for 15 years, he is no longer in the police force. Yet, if I say he has worked in the police force for 15 years, it means that the person is still the police officer. In the same way, with the past simple to describe a long-term situation in the past which is no longer true, I can say in the 19th century, some doctors in the United States believed that the transfusion of milk from cows and goats could be used as a blood substitute. They no longer do it, of course. The practice was discontinued due to adverse effects and the advent or invention of isotonic saline solution. Question number 5. I want to be a doctor, but now I've changed my mind and I'm starting to be a dentist. And the correct answer is he used to want to be a doctor. We use used to or would to talk about repeated actions in the past. For example, I can say she used to leave the door unlocked when she stayed at home, or she would leave the door unlocked whenever she stayed at home. However, the use of would is much more restricted than the use of used to. For example, the negative form of would is almost never used to describe past events. Would is way more formal than used to and is usually used in stories. Moreover, you can't use would to describe states. You can only use would to describe actions, like in she would go to the store every day. For example, she used to go to the market every day. However, while I can say he used to love to play hockey, I can't say he would love to play hockey. Therefore, if you are in doubt, use used to instead of would, because used to has a wider range of application. Question number 6. His homework when the phone rang. And the correct answer is he was doing his homework when the phone rang. Here we use the past continuous to give the background scene to a particular past event. Question number 7. I filled in the application yesterday, but I submitted it yet. And the correct answer is I filled in the application yesterday, but I haven't submitted it yet. While the first part of the sentence has a specific time in the past, yesterday. I filled in the application yesterday. We use the past simple here. However, the second part of the sentence is connected to the present. I haven't submitted it yet. What is important for us is the result and unfinished action in the present moment. In such cases, the time expressions that you can frequently see are yet, just, already, or recently. For example, you can say, I've just got up, or have you written your essay yet? Question number 8. IELTS 3 times now with different results each time. And the correct answer is I have taken IELTS 3 times now. Here again we use the present perfect to connect the past to the present. When I say I've taken IELTS 3 times now, I mean that the period of time I'm referring to is still not over. I can still take this test again in this period of time. This is very different from saying, for example, I took IELTS 3 times last year. Last year is already over. I cannot change this situation. I cannot take more IELTS tests last year because the period of time is over. However, if I say I have taken IELTS 3 times this year, the year is not over yet. I can still change the situation. I can still take more tests this year. Question number 9. When I arrived the film, so I didn't find it easy to follow the plot. And the correct answer is when I arrived, the film had started, so I didn't find it easy to follow the plot. We use the past perfect here because we are already talking about the past and we want to refer to another action which had taken place before something else in the past. Because if I say when I arrived, the film started, the order of actions will be different. First, I arrived, then the film started. However, what I want to say is that first the film started and then I arrived. Therefore, if I want to say that, I need to use the past perfect. When I arrived, the film had already started. He hockey after school, but that changed when they moved to a village where there was neither a hockey club nor a hockey rink. And the correct answer is he had played hockey after school, but that changed when they moved to the village. Here we use the past perfect to refer to an action which took place before another point in the past. Question number 11. The doctor at 4 p.m. this afternoon, so I have to leave the office earlier than usual. And the correct answer is I am seeing the doctor at 4 p.m. this afternoon. We use the present continuous to talk about plans and definite arrangements. For example, I can say we are staying at a hotel, which means that we have already booked our rooms there for the night. My brother mathematics and economics when he goes to university. And the correct answer is my brother is going to study mathematics and economics. We use to be going to do something to talk about future events that we have already thought about and intend to do. For example, you can say, we are going to hire a bus. We haven't done it yet, but we have thought about it and we intend to do it. While we are working on the project, he on a beach in the tropics. And the correct answer is while we are working on the project, he will be sitting on a beach in the tropics. Here we use the future continuous tense to describe or predict future situations or future events which will be taking place over a particular period of time in the future, and they will last for a particular time in the future. For example, I can say I will be working on this report all week. If the trend continues, the rent by 400% by 2030. And the correct answer is if the trend continues, the rent will have increased by 400% by 2030. In this case, we use the future perfect to refer to future events which will be finished at a particular point in the future. In such situations, we frequently use before, by, plus fixed time frame, or in plus amount of time. For example, in a week's time, I will have finished this report, or I will have written 20 essays by Friday. Or you can also say, by the end of this year, he will have given the same talk 30 times. For your project, you can choose city. It doesn't matter which. And the correct answer is you can choose any city. Here we want to say it doesn't matter which, and this is exactly what any means. Some means several, objects, items, people, and is followed by a plural noun. For example, you can say while some cities are growing, others are shrinking. Or you can also say there are some shelves above the desk. The swimming course is almost full. There aren't places left. And the correct answer is there aren't many places left. Much is used only with uncountable nouns. For example, there isn't much milk left. Lots of is much less formal than much and many, and lots of is almost never used in negative sentences. For example, we say we don't have a lot of time left, or we don't have much time left, but we don't say we don't have lots of time left. Can't even say that. Will you take this job? I don't know. It's And the correct answer is it's a difficult question. Question is a noun, a countable noun. So we need an article here. But since we mentioned decision for the first time, we need an indefinite article, a difficult decision. I would highly recommend this book. It is full of and the correct answer is it's full of valuable information. Information is uncountable, an uncountable noun mentioned for the first time, so no article needed. We will interview candidates in turn. And the correct answer is we will interview each of the candidates in turn. Every and each are used with a singular noun. For example, you can say every candidate will be interviewed in turn, or each candidate will be interviewed separately. Where did you buy this desk? I made it. And the correct answer is myself. I did it myself. Here, myself emphasizes that I was the one who did it and nobody else. You should visit Berlin. It's city. And the correct answer is an interesting historical city, an adjective describing our opinion of an object or a person always comes first. For example, we can say a beautiful old carpet or an unusual Turkish carpet or a strange green metallic material or an amazing little old Chinese cup. The data is really and the correct answer is the data is really shocking. The ending ing describes a person or a thing, while the ending ed refers to how a person feels. For example, I can say the news is really shocking, or he was really shocked by the news. The city is amazing, or she is amazed by the city. The view from the hotel is stunning. And the correct answer is absolutely stunning. Stunning is the so-called extreme adjective which suggests a limit in its meaning. The adverbs such as very and fairly do not collocate with extreme adjectives. For example, I can say absolutely terrifying, but I can't say fairly terrifying or very terrifying. On the other hand, for example, friendly is not extreme, and therefore I can say very friendly or fairly friendly, but I don't say absolutely friendly. Apple produces some of the computers in the world. And the correct answer is Apple produces some of the best computers in the world. Here we need the superlative degree of the adjective good. People grow their own food than 100 years ago. And the correct answer is fewer people grow their own food. Less is used with uncountable nouns. For example, you can say they now have less land than they had 100 years ago. This is the end of the first part of this grammar review. You will find a link in the description box below to the second part of this grammar review, in which we will cover questions from number 26 to 50. So till next time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.